Lockout Tagout. What is Lockout Tagout? Lockout Tagout is a systematic means of isolating hazardous energy from any plant or equipment to be worked on. Hazardous energy is any energy contained within plant or equipment that could potentially cause harm. Locking out plant and equipment does not necessarily mean that all sources of hazardous energy have been controlled. Further information on hazardous energy control is contained in the Hazardous Energy module. Is Lockout Tagout the same in all companies? Lockout Tagout is not the same in all organisations. The system each organisation has is dependent on its size, the hazards involved and the complexity of the plant. Some companies do not use a Lockout Tagout process. Some may only opt for tagout. It is for these reasons Shellgrove do not have its own system. This module covers fundamentals in a Lockout Tagout process. Employees will need to understand and follow the site-specific process for the client they are working with. Sources of energy. The sources of energy available in an industrial environment are typically electrical, mechanical, hydraulic pressure, pneumatic pressure, heat and radiation. Types of injuries. Electrical hazards potentially could cause injuries such as electrocution, electric shock and burns, as well as causing damage due to fire. Mechanical hazards can contribute to entanglement, amputation, cuts, stabs and shearing. Damage to machinery and equipment may also be a result. Hydraulic pressure and pneumatic pressure, depending upon the pressure and heat behind the fluid or gas, can cause severe physical injury. Thermal hazards, as the name suggests, can be responsible for extreme burns. Isolation points. Depending upon the hazardous energy that needs to be controlled and the function the energy has in the system to be controlled will influence the type of isolation that must be used. Electrical isolation is generally done with switching. Hydraulic and pneumatic isolation is generally done using valves. Mechanical systems will generally be energised indirectly by electricity. Therefore, the isolation may be an electrical isolation, for example, a drive motor. Other mechanical systems may be energised by fluid or pneumatic power. These may require both electrical and mechanical isolation. Locks. Locks for a lockout system have only one key. There are no master keys. Only one key should be issued with each lock, and the person who is in danger, that is the person working on the equipment, keeps the key. Some of our clients' sites may have different coloured locks for different reasons, such as levels of authority, usually in conjunction with multiple locks, where the person in charge of the job will have a different coloured lock and will be the last person to remove their lock. But remember, each site will have their own procedure, so be aware of how it operates. Multiple locks and hasps. Where more than one person is at risk, each person on the job applies their own lock to a hasp. The hasp is placed on the isolation point and cannot be removed until all involved personnel have removed their lock. Locks should only be removed once the work is completed. Tags. Where a lock is applied to a system to lock it out, a tag should also be applied to assist others identify who has applied the lock. Tags can be purchased from safety equipment stores in bundles. Depending upon the brand and the stockist, they can vary in appearance and wording. They are usually two-sided. Be aware that some organisations may allow the use of tags only for isolations and not use locks. Ensure you have a thorough understanding of the site procedure. Lockout stations. Many organisations utilise lockout stations. These are centralised equipment boards specifically for storing lockout, tagout equipment for use when needed. There are many types and sizes available and in use. You must refer to the client's procedures on using lockout tagout to ensure what you do is consistent with the approach used on the site. Group lockout boxes. Group lockout boxes may also be used by some clients where equipment may be locked out by a work group all conducting work on the equipment at one time. These are also centralised equipment boards but are specifically used for managing lockout by a person in charge, ensuring that all workers have completed their tasks and removed locks before handing equipment back. You must refer to the client's procedures on using lockout tagout to ensure what you do is consistent with the approach used on site. Lockout tagout is serious business. Our clients that do have a lockout tagout process and associated equipment in place take the process very seriously. A breach of the rules could mean disciplinary action. So remember, if you're in doubt, ask your site supervisor. Do not remove your lock before your task is completed. Do not loan your lock or give someone else your key. Remove your lock before you go home. If your task is not complete, ensure that an incoming shift employee places their lock at handover, or if there is no incoming shift, place a lock on it so that it can be removed by a supervisor in case you cannot attend work the following day. Become aware of the site lockout tagout procedure for shift change and leaving site. Above all, you must be familiar with the client's procedures on lockout tagout to ensure what you do is consistent with the approach used on site. While working on site, where the client does not have a lockout tagout system in place, and there is a risk that others may inadvertently start equipment while you are working on it, speak to your site supervisor as soon as possible. You may also speak with your Shelgrave area representative about addressing any problem that is not satisfactorily overcome. Shelgrave can supply you with a lock for your own personal use in these situations. Thank you for completing this safety module. Please complete the quiz for this topic.